Associates in Missions is the United Pentecostal Church International short-term missions program. The trips are usually 2 months or longer, and you are able to work with missionaries on the field for an extended amount of time, whether it's 2 months or 6 months, a year, 3 years. It can go for however long. I recently went to Guatemala. I went to Guatemala for 3 months from February to May of 2018. The process started actually a few years ago. I had just graduated college, trying to figure out what was next for me. I wasn't sure what I should be pursuing, if I should be going back to school. And I had previously gone on an AYC trip that kind of planted something in me. I had felt for a while that missions was going to be in my life, but I didn't know to what capacity. I really started praying and seeking God and trying to figure out what the next step for me was, and that was when God really put missions on my heart. So I met with Pastor, and he totally thought that I should pursue missions in regards to going on a trip, and advised me to go to the AIM websites. They have it's called a Go Center, and it's pretty much like a job posting. It shows you each country and who the missionary is, what a proposed budget would be for how long, and what they're looking for. And out of all the opportunities, the only thing that stuck out to me that I actually wanted to do, that I wanted to pursue, was going to Guatemala to work in the orphanage there. So I told Pastor that, and we started the process. It was a lot of back and forth because they were still in the construction process. They didn't have kids yet. So about after a year and a half of not yet, I don't know yet, I'm not sure, we finally got the no, because they were still working with the government to get accreditation, so they still didn't have kids yet. So it was a long time to wait to get a no. You usually think that when you're waiting, it's like, okay, I'm waiting, and then the door will open and I'll get to walk through it. But there was a lot of waiting, and then I got a no. Learning to trust God's timing, I think, is a huge lesson that everyone needs to learn. I need to learn that lesson, and I think the waiting game really taught me that. And just learning to trust God and knowing that He was gonna open the doors for me in my life, whatever they were going to be, whether it was missions or whatever else, just trusting that He knows what's best for me, and I need to depend on Him fully and not just trust my own instincts and run with whatever I wanna do. When you don't know what's going on in your life, when you're unsure, you really learn to be like, okay, God, I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but you know what's best, and I trust you. So after I got the no, a few months later on the AIM's Instagram, they posted that the Harrods needed somebody to come and work with, the Harrods are the missionaries in Spain. They needed somebody to come and help them out. And I saw the opportunity, and for whatever reason, it really stuck out to me. I texted Pastor about it. He was like, apply for it right away. And I did so, and within 4 months, I was on the field. So it went from a year and a half of waiting, to this new opportunity, applied, and right away I was able to go. And by that October, so just a few months later, I was on the field. I was there for about 2 months, and when I got home, I realized that the burden for Guatemala and orphan care was still on my heart. So talked to Pastor about that again and let him know that Spain didn't scratch the itch. I still wanted to go. And within a few months, the people in Guatemala who were at the orphanage had posted that they needed someone to come. I applied, and within a few months, I was preparing for my trip. During my time in Guatemala, I worked at the Home International Orphanage. The orphanage aims to provide love and care for children in need while teaching them about the hope found in Jesus. Their mission statement is to provide love, care, education, protection, and spiritual formation to orphaned, abused, abandoned, and rescued children in order to form godly men and women. My role as an aimer, I was pretty much the assistant to the director of the orphanage in Guatemala. When you're working with children, you can have a plan, you can have a set itinerary, and that's not necessarily how it will go. We have a She's for Christ van that we would drive the kids to school in. So driving the kids to school, picking them up from school, cleaning the van, setting up and cleaning up for lunch, playing with the kids outside after school, helping the school-age kids read. It really varied from day to day, and whenever the day needed, it was like, okay, we're gonna do that. I think you should be able to serve where you are. So if you're not serving in any capacity in your church, and I'm not talking speaking on the platform or doing something where everyone can see you, just doing what you can, whether it's cleaning or helping out behind the scenes somewhere. If you're not doing that, then you should be. You should get involved in any way that you can now. You don't have to wait till you're abroad, and you probably shouldn't wait till you're abroad to be involved. So serve in whatever capacity you can where you are right now. Trusting God's timing is another key thing. Even if you have something on your heart and the doors aren't opening or your leadership says to wait, trust that, because these people are God ordained in your life and God knows what He's doing. So whether it's something that you need to learn or the situation where you want to go isn't what it needs to be for you to go yet, just to trust that God has your back and has your best intentions in mind. Just to remember that no matter what you come up against is really important. I think getting to know yourself and your strengths and weaknesses is also something that's really important. Everybody has something to bring to the table, and it's not the same thing for everyone. I knew that I wanted to work at the orphanage in Guatemala, so I did what I could here to help prepare for that. So I did kids' church, I've done VBS, and just worked with kids here to kind of prepare me for that. And that's something that I like to do. That's a strength of mine. So just getting to know yourself and knowing what you like to pursue, what you would like to pursue and what you're good at, I think helps in the long run. And then once you're on the field also, you can apply those things accordingly. And I think just praying and making sure you have that relationship with God, because if you don't have it before you're on the field and then you get on the field and realize that you're kind of not totally alone, but pretty alone, you're not surrounded by family and friends, to not have that base of that relationship with God, it could be a real downfall. So to have that consistency here while you're at home, I think will really help in the long run, whether you wind up on the missions field or wind up in something else. I think that constant relationship with God is really the basis that we all need to have.